Welcome back to the Hockey Show, and today we are talking about the second to last day of the NHL season and the stipulations of the games that are going on tonight. This is the most, well, maybe not the most important day of the year, but it is a pretty important one at this point because it will basically decide where we will finally see the matchups, who will play who. And it's crazy that it's come down to the second to last day to know most of the matchup, like 75% of the series of the playoffs have yet to be decided. Last year at this point, we've already known. I think maybe there's like one still in the air, but it was known for at least a week or so beforehand. But it is up to the second day till we'll finally know who's playing who. So let's talk about it. So starting off with the Bruins versus the Canadiens, of course, that classic rivalry, always a fun match to see. Now, last night the Canadiens lost to the Islanders, which is the game that they needed to, well, the Islanders needed to clinch and knock out the Penguins for the first time in 16 years that the Penguins have been eliminated. I'm sure if you're watching this, you already knew that. So, Canadiens just coming off of that hard loss, going up against the Bruins is not going to be easy on their flight home. So, the Habs just in a back-to-back losing. Ullmark won't play as he went down, well, didn't go down, but he left the third period of the last Bruins game due to muscle tightness, whatever that really means, but makes sense. You want to keep him out of the game, keep him out, and you let Swayman finish the season. Makes sense. I would do the same thing, give that guy a nod. I mean, kind of unfortunate for Ullmark, but he's going to get like a week or so, a little bit less than a week, to heal up, so smart move by the Bruins. And the Bruins are on an 8-game winning streak, so they're looking to extend and finish the season out with a 9-game winning streak, and of course expanding their NHL history record of the most wins in a season. And, of course, they have to top it off against their longtime rival, one of the most classic rivalries in the NHL against the Canadiens. So, my pick, of course, for that one, obviously the Bruins. And it's better for the Canadiens to lose, too. They need to go down those rankings to get a better draft pick and maybe get Connor Bedard. Who knows? But that is win-win there. Bruins win, Canadiens lose. Bruins make more history, but if there was a team that would want to stop them making history, it should be the Canadiens. So I'm sure that will be a fun matchup to see Gallagher and all those guys on the Canadiens try to screw up the Bruins. But moving on to the next matchup that really matters. Carolina versus the Florida Panthers in Florida. So, if the Carolina Hurricanes win, they will clinch the division. If they win, they clinch the division no matter what. So they will play the first seeded wild card team, which would be the Islanders, because the Florida Panthers, that would mean they lose this matchup, so they would stay in the second wild card position if they lose. So Carolina wins, they clinch the division, they will play the first wild card seed, which would be the Islanders, at which I think, is a good matchup for the Islanders. I think it would be preferred, actually, over the Florida Panthers. I don't know. I'll talk about it in my matchup if that actually happens. But Carolina wins first wild card, clinch division. If the Panthers win, then that's where things get interesting. If the Panthers win, they jump up to the first wild card spot, avoiding the Bruins. And also, but that doesn't quite mean that the Hurricanes are out of the woods. So that would mean that this matchup could happen again in the first round, because if the Florida Panthers win, they jump to the first wild card spot, and if the New Jersey Devils, if they win their game against the Capitals, then the New Jersey Devils would move up. If the Florida Panthers win, they would move up to the first spot. The Devils would move to the first spot, then would be the division clinching team. If the Devils lose, then if they lose, then nothing really changes. It doesn't matter. Then the Hurricanes stay in the first round spot, and then they will play against the Florida Panthers in the first round. If the Devils lose in overtime, they will have tied the Hurricanes, and the Florida Panthers. The Hurricanes do not hold the tiebreaker. The Devils would. So if the Devils lose in overtime or a shootout, but the Devils have the tiebreaker, they would move to the first spot. So it's a lot of ways to say that the Hurricanes basically just want to win this game. There we go. Florida Panthers want to win this one to avoid the Bruins. That's what they're really playing for. Both these teams trying to play, really doing something with the first wild card spot and trying to play them instead of the other one. So this could be also important, is that this could be the first round matchup between these two teams. So it's a big win for one of these two teams as well. Florida, if they get this win and then New Jersey loses their matchup, they're going to go in with the momentum against the Hurricanes and having a better season against them. So there's that too. So interesting a lot of stipulations there. You can even read the NHL's website of explaining it to you, and it is as confusing as it is for me to explain. But basically, a win for one of these two teams would be big for the other one. And then the Devils. So the New Jersey Devils, they're 1 point behind the Carolina Hurricanes. 1 point behind. They hold the tiebreaker against the Hurricanes if they end up tying. Now, the Devils are playing the Washington Capitals, who they've had a very good season against, and the Capitals kind of suck. So the New Jersey Devils should be able to win this one. They win, they get those 2 points. That puts them in the first spot. If the Hurricanes lose, then they would play against the first seed, which would be the Islanders. No, it would be the Panthers if the Hurricanes lose. It's a lot to explain and to visualize, but it all makes sense. So basically, the Devils and the Hurricanes and the Florida Panthers all want to win, and it will finally decide who plays who. But regardless of anything, if the New Jersey Devils lose this game, they will play the New York Rangers in the first round. They will have the home ice advantage to start, but still, they would rather... if I was the Devils, I would definitely much rather play either the Florida... Actually, I don't know. Florida's been such on a roll lately. I might rather play the... well, I guess... No, yeah. So the only options for the Devils is they are either going to play the Rangers or the Florida Panthers. The Hurricanes' options is that they will play either the Rangers or the New York Islanders. So it's crazy just to see how the differences are there. So it's a lot. It's a lot of things. A lot of things are going to happen. It's nuts to explain, really. But then we finally move out west. So the Winnipeg Jets at the Colorado Avalanche. So the Avs currently are currently in second place to the Dallas Stars because they won yesterday. Now, they do have one game in hand, so they've got 80 games played, 2 games left for the Avalanche. Stars, 1 game left of their season, which is going to be the next thing I talk about. They're playing their last game today as well. So the Avalanche, if they win this game, they will be ahead of the Stars by 1 point, and they have 1 game in hand. So if they win this game against the Winnipeg Jets, they move ahead of the Dallas Stars. Dallas, though, holds the tiebreaker. So let's say Avalanche, they win this game, they're ahead by... No. Yes, they win this game, they're ahead by 1 point. The Stars, let's say they lose this game in overtime against the Blues, and then the Avalanche lose their next game. The Dallas Stars hold the tiebreaker against the Colorado Avalanche. So, this is basically a must-win situation for the Avalanche. I mean, not must-win. They've clinched the playoffs. They're not playing for their lives, but I think they would much rather play a Winnipeg Jets team over playing the Minnesota Wild. However, they probably won't be because I believe the first team in the Central Division will play the Seattle Kraken or the LA Kings, which is definitely not preferred. So really, it's not a win-win situation anywhere for the Central Division here, because first place is either going to play Seattle or LA, which is going to be a tough matchup, or they're going to play Minnesota, which is also a tough matchup. It's not like over in the Pacific Division, which I'll talk about in a second as well, where the winner of that will play the Winnipeg Jets, which I think is definitely the much more preferred outcome for any of the teams at this point in the West. So the Avs looking for a win. They got a game in hand against Dallas, only 1 point behind them at this point. And the Winnipeg Jets, they're clinched as well. They're going to hold on to that second place spot. So they will play either the Avalanche or the Dallas Stars at this point. The Dallas Stars playing tonight against the team they just played in St. Louis, but they're heading home to Dallas to play them again. They just beat them 5-2 yesterday. So the Dallas Stars looking to continue that pretty good play against the St. Louis Blues, and I think they will. I think they will. That building's going to be crazy for their last game of the season, and they just came off a big win against them. I think they're just going to roll over them once again, and they lead the Colorado Avalanche by 1 point. If they win this game, they will be ahead by 3, not counting what Colorado does. So winning this game will put them ahead by at least 2 points if okay, it's a lot of things. It's so many outcomes that could happen to this. But basically, if Dallas wins this one, 3 points ahead of Colorado on as a basis. Colorado wins this game, they'll be behind by 1. If they have 2 games left, so if they go 1-1, they'll be in second place against Minnesota. If they get 2-2, they will be ahead of them. So basically, if Colorado wins, Dallas needs to win. Dallas needs to win. Colorado needs to win both their games. It puts a lot of pressure on the Avalanche. So the Dallas Stars need to win this game to have all the pressure on the Avalanche to win both of their games. And regardless of anything, Colorado's under pressure to win these points anyways. So, yes, absolute confusion. So Dallas at this point, they're either going to play Minnesota or they're going to play the Seattle Kraken or the LA Kings, just like Colorado. St. Louis, obviously out of the playoffs. Vegas versus Seattle. So here we are. So Vegas versus Seattle, the newest teams of the NHL against each other to finish off their season, which is great touch by the NHL. That whenever these two teams play against each other, it's a fantastic one. But right now, Vegas is in the first place spot of the Pacific Division. If Edmonton, 2 points above Edmonton, okay? So Edmonton can catch up with them. Vegas beat Seattle earlier this week on Tuesday, 4-1 in Vegas. They're going to Seattle now, so Seattle's going to be the home team. So 4-1 Vegas a few days ago. So they're 2 points ahead. If Vegas wins this game, then they're solid. If they win this game, they don't have to worry about Edmonton, okay? But if they lose this, Edmonton can catch up to them, and I believe Edmonton has the tiebreaker. So must win there for the Vegas Golden Knights. Seattle will play the Avalanche or the Dallas Stars if they are the first wild card. If Seattle wins this game, they will tie with the LA Kings. So if Seattle wins this game, if Seattle wins and LA loses their game, Seattle will move to the third spot and will play either the Edmonton Oilers or the Vegas Golden Knights. If Vegas wins this, though, then nothing happens. Nothing will change about that. So if Vegas wins this, they clinch the division. If Edmonton wins their matchup and Vegas loses this one, Vegas will go down, Edmonton will go up, and then Seattle, since they would have won, if LA loses, then Seattle will move up. So then we could have Seattle versus the Kings in a very convoluted way. It would be nuts if that happens. It's more likely things will stay the same the way they are right now, but it's still a possibility of all of this craziness happening. Moving on to the next whiteboard I have for this video of this crazy nonsense that's going on. So the Red Wings versus Tampa Bay. Finally a matchup that means nothing. So Tampa Bay currently on a 4-game losing streak, going against Toronto in the first round. They've been such a sketchy team. I mean, 1 week they go 3-0 and Vasilevsky gets 2 shutouts, and then the next week they're on a 4-game losing streak. Tampa Bay absolutely just needs to figure out what the hell's going on over there, because the way they're looking right now, they don't have time to really fix things right now. They don't have time to turn the boat around. Like, they got to turn things on a dime somehow. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they are looking not great going into the playoffs. I mean, even if they win this game 10-0 against the Red Wings, still, things are looking scary for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and Toronto plays as well tonight. Both the teams in their matchup has their future set. Toronto versus the Rangers. This is really just more trying to get a big win against a good team to go into the playoffs. The Rags, the Rangers, with a 6-game point streak right now. They got 3 wins and 3 overtime/shootout wins in their last 6 games. So they're looking good there. The season series between these two teams is split 1-1 for each other. So trying to win that season series against the other one. Minnesota versus Nashville. Now, Nashville and Minnesota, both their futures are set as well. Nashville out of the playoffs. Minnesota, third place, will finish in third place, and this is both of their last game. Sorry, I think Nashville actually has 2 games left, but it doesn't matter. They are out of the playoffs, and their season series is also split between the 2 teams, so one of them will come out on top in this one. Then we've got Edmonton versus San Jose, a game where, once again, we've got so many things that could go on in this matchup here. So, hang on. Okay, so this is how we're going to show how this works. So if Edmonton wins this game against the Sharks, which is most likely because they've beaten the Sharks this year, all 3 games so far, 7-1 and 6-1, I think 5-4 in one game. So they've gonna win this game against the San Jose Sharks. Not a doubt in my mind that they don't win this one. So Edmonton wins this game against the Sharks. Okay, so right now Edmonton's in second place. If they win, they are tied going off of just the basic stats. They would be tied with the Golden Knights. If Vegas wins their matchup, then nothing happens. But if Vegas loses against the stupid team that they're going to play, against the Seattle Kraken, then they will move down because Edmonton holds the tiebreaker. So Edmonton would go to the first place spot here, okay? So LA versus the Anaheim Ducks. So you got to think LA's probably going to win this, but you never know. Maybe Anaheim pulls something out. Maybe Trevor Zegras tries to make a hat trick out of some crazy moves to finish off the season. So let's just say, so if LA wins this, they stay here, Seattle stays here. But if Seattle beats the Golden Knights in this scenario and LA loses, then they will switch spots here, which then this wild card will play against either the Dallas Stars or the Avalanche. But if Seattle loses their game and LA stays where they are, then Seattle will play one of these 2 teams. So basically, those are the matchups. So anything can still happen in the Pacific. We could have Edmonton versus LA. We could also have Seattle versus LA. Actually, no, we can't. There's no way Seattle will play Edmonton because that means Vegas would have won their matchup. Yeah, there's no way. So the matchups that we can potentially have coming from tonight is Vegas is in first place if they win, LA versus Edmonton, right? If Vegas loses, then we could have Vegas versus the Kings, or we could have Vegas versus the Seattle Kraken. Those are the matchups. Those are the potential things. And Dallas and the Avs, they could play either Seattle or the Minnesota Wild, which are up there, or one of these 2 teams. So nothing is set. Nothing is set at all except for tonight. There's so much that could happen. It's like being Doctor Strange, looking at all the possible routes that could happen from tonight, and it is just absurd. It has never been this crazy, at least from me watching in my lifetime. I'm sure maybe 50 years ago there was something nuts happening going on. But at this current moment, this is the craziest finale to the season ever. Ever. And I know this is a very deconstructed video and I'm just all over the place, but that just shows you just how absolutely absurd everything is going on here. Because nothing is set in stone. Anything can happen. And there's no way to call it off. And you could just say simple things like LA should be able to beat the Anaheim Ducks here tonight. Well, the Penguins, who are trying to not have their iconic stars lose their consecutive record route streak, and they lost that too. So it is just insane what's going on. So there's really nothing else I can say about this absolute ludicrousness of what's going on today. Just watch the games. Just watch the games for yourself and see what happens. Just see what happens. And tomorrow I will finally be able to break down what's going on, because I would have loved to have started today, but I can't because there's just too much that can happen. I can't even throw a dart and hope what's going to happen, because there's no way. There's like not even likelihoods, because it's so close. It is just too close to call. So that is all I have to say. I know this video is absolutely absurd and is just all over the place, and I'm sure no one's gotten this far. I would have clicked away too, but I wanted to make this video anyways and just talk about it. So if you've made it this far, you might as well pick up your free subscription down below. So please do that. I'm begging you to. And until next time, too sweet. Have an amazing day, and ta-ta for now.